Hi everyone, welcome to our group project General Biology Group 3. Our group consists of 6 people that are Andrea Aulia Rahmat, Balqis Prameswari, Varelia Octaviola, Hilda Alivia Kairenisa, Nikada Ayu Indah Mahandari, and the last is Stefany Fritzka Quinn. So our table of content for this video, first we are talking about the introduction, what is bee and the type of bees in general. The second is how bees extinct. The third is what will happen if bees disappear, and this is the main topic of this video, and the last is conclusion. Come to the first topic, that is the definition, types, and the function of bees. So first is the definition of bee. Honeybees, or the western honeybee in particular, is known scientifically as Apis mellifera. Honeybees play a vital role in our life. Seed plant produce fruit after pollinators such as bees and butterfly pollinate them by inadvertently transferring pollen from male to female flower part. It is estimated that 3/4 of flowering plants require pollinator in order to produce fruit. The honeybees, a very social insect. Honeybees live in hive within a very structured social order. Next is type of bee. There are different types of bees in the honeybee hive, that is worker, drone, and queen. Each has its own important rules and performs specific duties in a bee colony. So the first type of bee is queen bee. Queen bee can be recognized by her abdomen, which is usually smooth, elongate, extending well beyond her floated wings. His role in the hive is one of reproduction. She is normally the only one reproductive female in the colony. She also produces a pheromone known as queen substance. This mixture of chemical is passed individually from bee to bee throughout the entire hive as they share food. The next type is worker bees. Worker bees are the smallest of the bee castes, but are by far the most numerous. All workers are females and normally incapable of reproduction. They are unable to mate, but in a hopelessly queenless colony, workers can begin to lay unfertilized eggs, which develop into drones. The worker bee lifespan. Worker reared in the spring and early summer tend to live for 5 to 6 weeks. The first 2 weeks of their life is spent as house bee doing tasks in the hive. The remainder of their time is spent as field bees foraging for food outside the hive. Next to the last types of bees, that is drone. Drone are the male honeybees. The only function of drone is to fertilize a young queen bee. They can recognized by larger and shorter than workers. Their mood part are generally reduced and so on. Drone production will cease in the late summer as the quantity of available food declines.
How bees extinct? All living things on this earth have their respective rules like bees. This one animal has an important role in maintaining the continuity of life on this earth. However, nowadays, its existence has started to cause concerns. According to Greenpeace USA, the cause of bee death, as known by scientists, is caused by several factors, namely pesticides, habitat destruction, drought, nutritional deficits, air pollution, global warming, and many more. The factors are related to one another. However, there are 2 factors whose effects depend on humans, namely pesticides and habitat loss.
So, this is the explanation of what will happen when all bees disappear from Earth.
The first is the extinction of other plants. As pollinators, bees play a part in every aspect of the ecosystem. They support the growth of trees, flowers, and other plants, which serve as food and shelter for large and small creatures. Bees contribute to complex, interconnected ecosystems that allow a diverse numbers of different species to coexist. Honeybees perform more than 80% of pollination of many cultivated crops. More than 100 important crops are pollinated by honeybees. Without bees, they would set fewer seeds and would have lower reproductive success. This situation can cause a significant reduction in the number of plants. This includes many of the fruits and vegetables that humans eat. Also, a number of important crops such as nuts, herbs, spices, oilseed crops, forage for dairy and beef cattle, as well as medical and numerous ornamental plants. If bees are disappear, the population of plants would decrease and humans would lose some of the main vegetables. Other than that, humans can only eat vegetables and fruit that are left. However, humans are not the only ones that rely on bees for their food. According to Greenpeace, bees also pollinate crops that animals eat. For example, they also pollinate a wide variety of plants, such as berries that are consumed by bears, the seeds which are eaten by birds, and many other plants. In the worst case, some plants might go extinct.
So, second of all, humans will only have 4 years to live. This phrase, usually credited to Einstein, it will be almost impossible to underestimate pollinators' role in our ecosystem. Pollen is transferred from the male flowers to the female flowers by the bee, while bees are the only pollinators available in Earth, but they are the most effective among the others. This is partly to the fact that they need pollen to feed their larvae, so they are biologically motivated to collect it. Despite the fact that the majority of our food sources are pollinated by the white, like paddy, will not be harmed by a major pollinator extinction. However, whereas our food supply will be stable in terms of calories, things will be poor in another sector. Like many of our fruits and vegetables such as avocados, apple, and berries, that depends on pollination by bees. Pollinators are needed for 91 crops consumed by humans, that according to a study of global crop market. So in other words, if bee become extinct, humans will lose many of the foods that keep our meals lively, balanced, and healthy.
Next, in elementary school, we have learned that honeybees are an integral part of our food chain. Most beekeepers would likely say that bees are actually really good for us, and yes, they are. These hard-working insects pollinate more than 90 of the tastiest flowering crops, and this is some of them, and making them partially and of course responsible for every third bite of food we eat. In Michigan, these important crops include apples, squash, cucumbers, and melons. Honeybees also play an important role in animal production because they pollinate alfalfa and other grains eaten by livestock. Reduced rates of honeybee pollination impact the cost of meat and produce driving up prices across the board. And it is not overstating to say that if they die, they are taking us with them. And what would happen next? It clearly denotes that the balance of the food chain will be messed up. If all the bees died, it wouldn't mean extinction for humans, but it would cause widespread hardship and possibly famine. This is because a lot of the foods we regularly consume wouldn't be available anymore, and we may lose all the plants that bees pollinate, all of the animals that eat those plants, and so on and so forth. And our supermarkets would have half the amount of fruit and vegetables, which means the world without bees could struggle to sustain the global human population of 7 billion. Next will be discussed by Hilda.
Okay, next, the conclusion. So, based on the explanation, we conclude that if the bees are disappear from the earth, then many plants that need pollination by bees will become extinct. And second, there is a quote which states that humans only have 4 years left to live if bees disappear from the face of the earth. And that quote is usually associated with Einstein. The quote may be true because bees help humans produce food from their pollination activity. And the last one, the balance of the food chain will be disturbed because there are so many plants that need pollination by bees, and also animals that might eat these plants will also become extinct, so that the food chain will be disrupted, even messed up. So, we have the solution for this problem. Based on greenpeace.org, there are 3 ways to save bees from extinction. The first is ban the 7 most dangerous pesticides. One of the dangerous pesticides can threaten the presence of bees is the pesticide type neonicotinoid. This pesticide can reduce the ability of bees to vibrate flowers and get rid of pollen to fertilize plants. The second is protect pollinator health by preserving wild habitat. And the last, restore ecological agriculture. Ecological agriculture is a new, comprehensive policy trend that will stabilize human food production, conserve wild habitats, and protect bees. Ecological agriculture can resist insect damage by avoiding large single crops and conserving ecosystem diversity. So, this is our references. Okay, so we need to save the bees because the future of bees is the future of all of us. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.